Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Matt's Off the Cuff Gaming. I am your host, Matt. We are ready to start gameplay video number 5 for Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, Mass Effect 1. I am going back through this game as an Infiltrator, a class I typically don't play that often, especially in Mass Effect 1. This is not a blind playthrough, so if you are watching this on the replay or if you join me live here as I'm going along, just FYI, this is definitely not my first time playing it, so if that's important to you, I understand. I like blind playthroughs as well. I like watching people play things for the first time. But you can come along and we can examine things together. We can talk about the lore and whatnot. I think we actually have quite a bit of Codex readings to catch up on.
The Asari were the first species to discover the Citadel. When the Solarians arrived, it was the Asari who proposed the establishment of the Citadel Council to maintain peace throughout the galaxy. Since then, the Asari have served as the mediators and centrists of the Council. An all-female race, the Asari reproduce through a form of parthenogenesis. They can attune their nervous system to that of another individual of any gender and of any species to reproduce. This capability has led to the unseemly and inaccurate rumors about Asari promiscuity. Asari can live for over 1,000 years, passing through 3 stages of life. In the maiden stage, they wander restlessly, seeking new knowledge and experience. When the matron stage begins, they meld with interesting partners to produce their offspring. This ends when they reach the matriarch stage, where they assume the roles of leaders and counselors.
So I am capturing all of the primary Codex entries for the sake of the videos here, just to have them on record. So let's go ahead and check out the Solarian entry.
The second species to join the Citadel, the Solarians, are warm-blooded amphibians with a hyperactive metabolism. Solarians think fast, talk fast, and move fast. To Solarians, other species seem sluggish and dull-witted. Unfortunately, their metabolic speed leaves them with a relatively short lifespan. Solarians over the age of 40 are a rarity. The Solarians were responsible for advancing the development of the primitive Krogan species to use as soldiers during the Rachni Wars. They were also behind the creation of the genophage bioweapon the Turians used to quell the Krogan rebellions several centuries later. Solarians are known for their observational capability and non-linear thinking. This manifests as an aptitude for research and espionage. They are constantly experimenting and inventing, and it is generally accepted that they always know more than they are letting on.
That is definitely true.
The Elcor. The Krogan evolved in a hostile and vicious environment. Until the invention of gunpowder weapons, eaten by predators was still the #1 cause of Krogan fatalities. Afterwards, it was death by gunshot. When the Solarians discovered them, the Krogan were a brutal, primitive species, struggling to survive a self-inflicted nuclear winter. The Solarians culturally uplifted them, teaching them to use and build modern technology, so they could serve as soldiers in the Rachni War. Liberated from the harsh conditions of their homeworld, the quick-breeding Krogan experienced an unprecedented population explosion. They began to colonize nearby worlds. Even though these worlds were already inhabited, the Krogan rebellions lasted nearly a century, only ending when the Turians unleashed the genophage, a Solarian-developed bioweapon that crushed all Krogan resistance. The genophage makes only 1 in 1,000 pregnancies viable, and today the Krogan are a slowly dying breed. Understandably, the Krogan harbor a grudge against all other species, especially the Turians.
So there's a couple misconceptions about the genophage, and we'll probably get into some of that later on, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the genophage, and Rex will talk about it, as we converse with him more in this game. So one of the things it says here is that the genophage makes only 1 in 1,000 pregnancies viable. So that is true. Now, the genophage, you could say it was a punishment because of the rebellions. Now, it actually had there was two reasons for it. One was because of the Krogan rebellions, but also what the Solarians saw was that because technology that they gave the Krogans had changed them, and it had changed their species and changed their culture. One of the things that it did was it allowed the Krogan to live and to no longer, it took them out of their dangerous environment, so to speak. So their population numbers in terms of like a steady birth rate and a death rate due to the number of predators that were on Tuchanka, it was the numbers of 1 in 1,000 pregnancies being viable. That is the same viability rate that a Krogan, the chance of him or her reaching adulthood, as it was before the Solarian interference before first contact. That's something that is overlooked a lot of times. So what the genophage did was it returned them to their pre-industrial numbers in terms of their birth and their death rate, because it adjusted for removing them from a hostile environment. Morden talks about this more in Mass Effect 2. And a lot of people seem to gloss over that fact. They look at the genophage as strictly a punishment because of the Krogan rebellions in it. It definitely was a punishment because of that, but it was also a quote-unquote a course correction from removing them from a hostile environment. And as Morden said later in games in the series, is that they should have let evolution work itself out. They should have let the evolutionary process work itself out with the Krogan. Krogan could have worked out their aggression. They could have worked out their anger. They could have worked on all these problems instead of being culturally uplifted and given weapons and technology when they weren't ready for it. And you saw what happened to the species because of it.
Driven from their home system by the Geth nearly 3 centuries ago, most Quarians now live aboard the Migrant Fleet, a flotilla of 50,000 vessels ranging in size from passenger shuttles to mobile space stations. Home to 17 million Quarians, the flotilla understandably has scarce resources. Because of this, each Quarian must go on a rite of passage known as the pilgrimage when they come of age. They leave the fleet and only return once they have found something of value they can bring back to their people. Other species tend to look down on the Quarians for creating the Geth and for the negative impact their fleet has when it enters a system. This has led to many myths and rumors about the Quarians, including the belief that underneath their clothes and breathing masks, they are actually cybernetic creatures, a combination of organic and synthetic parts. Thresher maws are subterranean carnivores that spend their entire lives eating or searching for something to eat. Threshers reproduce via spores that can lie dormant for millennia, yet are robust enough to survive prolonged periods in deep space and atmospheric re-entry. As a result, thresher spores appear on many worlds, spread by previous generations of space travelers. The body of a thresher never entirely leaves the ground. Only the head and tentacles erupt from the earth to attack. In addition to physical attacks, threshers have the ability to project toxic chemicals and emit bursts of infrasound as a shockwave weapon. The Alliance first encountered threshers on the colony of Akuz in 2177. After contact was lost with the Pioneer team, Marine units were deployed to investigate. The shore parties were set upon by hungry threshers, and nearly the entire assault force was killed. Alliance forces recommend engaging threshers with vehicle-mounted heavy weapons. The Citadel space is an unofficial term referring to any region of space controlled by a species that acknowledges the authority of the Citadel Council. At first glance, it appears this territory encompasses most of the galaxy. In reality, however, less than 1% of the stars have been explored. Even Mass Effect FTL drive is slow relative to the volume of the galaxy. Empty space and systems without suitable drive discharge sites are barriers to exploration. Only the mass relays allow ships to jump hundreds of light years in an instant, the key to expanding across an otherwise impassable galaxy. Whenever a new relay is activated, the destination system is rapidly developed. From that hub, FTL drive is used to expand to nearby star clusters. The result is a number of densely developed clusters, thinly spread across the vast expanse of space, connected by the mass relay network. There are between 2 and 400 billion stars in the galaxy, and less than 1% of them have ever been visited or had their systems properly surveyed. Humanity's early expansion into the Attican Traverse was haphazard, a desperate race to claim habitable planets where populations can be economically settled. Ignored in the wake of this land grab were thousands of less hospitable worlds, each potentially rich with industrial resources. The wealth of entire solar systems lies untapped, waiting for corporate survey teams or independent pioneers to discover and exploit them. However, this is not an easy task. In addition to the environmental hazards, the fact that uncharted worlds are largely ignored makes them popular bases for criminals, revolutionaries, cults, and others who wish to remain unnoticed by galactic society.
Yeah, the sheer size and volume of the galaxy, of the Milky Way, is just incredible.
Faster-than-light drives use element zero cores to reduce the mass of the ship, allowing higher rates of acceleration. This effectively raises the speed of light within the mass effect field, allowing high-speed travel with negligible relativistic time dilation effects. Starships still require conventional thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, economy ion engine, or military anti-proton drive, in addition to the FTL drive core. With only a core, a ship has no motive power. The amount of ESO and power required for a drive increases exponentially to the mass being moved and the degree it is being lightened. Very massive ships, or very high speeds, are prohibitively expensive. If the field collapses while the ship is moving at faster than light speed, the effects are catastrophic. The ship is snapped back to sublight velocity, the enormous excess energy shed in the form of lethal Cherenkov radiation.
Okay.
Larger warships are generally classified in one of 4 weights. Frigates are small, fast ships used for scouting and screening of larger vessels. Frigates often operate in wolf-pack flotillas. Cruisers are middleweight combatants, faster than dreadnoughts and more heavily armed than frigates. Cruisers are the standard patrol unit and often lead frigate flotillas. Dreadnoughts are kilometer-long capital ships mounting heavy, long-range firepower. They are only deployed for the most vital missions. Carriers are dreadnought-sized vessels that also carry large numbers of fighters. Smaller vessels are almost exclusively used in a support role to the warships during combat. Fighters are one-man craft used to perform close-range attacks on enemy ships. Interceptors are one-man craft optimized for destroying opposing fighters. The Normandy is a prototype starship developed by the Human Systems Alliance with the assistance of the Citadel Council. It is optimized for scouting and reconnaissance missions in unstable regions using state-of-the-art stealth technology. For most ships, the heat generated through standard operations is easily detectable against the absolute zero background of space. The Normandy, however, is able to temporarily sink this heat within the hull. Combined with refrigeration of the exterior hull, the ship can travel undetected for hours or drift passively for days of covert observation. This is not without risk. The stored heat must eventually be radiated, or it will build to levels capable of cooking the crew alive. Another component of the stealth system is the Normandy's revolutionary Tantalus drive, a Mass Effect core twice the standard size. The Tantalus drive generates mass concentrations that the Normandy falls into, allowing it to move without the use of heat-emitting thrusters. Biotics, an artificial intelligence, is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Creation of a conscious AI requires adaptive code, a slow, expensive education, and a specialized quantum computer called a blue box. An AI cannot be transmitted across a communication channel or computer network. Without its blue box, an AI is no more than data files. Loading these files into a new blue box will create a new personality, as variations in the quantum hardware and runtime results create unpredictable variations. The Geths serve as a cautionary tale against the dangers of rogue AI, and in Citadel space, they are technically illegal. Advocacy groups argue, however, that an AI is a living, conscious entity, deserving the same rights as organics. They argue that continued use of the term artificial is institutionalized racism on the part of organic life. The term synthetic is considered the politically correct alternative.
Yeah, we don't want to cancel out. Do we have cancel culture in the Mass Effect universe, do we?
Biotic. When subjected to an electrical current, the rare material dubbed Element Zero, or EZO, emits a dark energy field that raises or lowers the mass of all objects within it. This mass effect is used in countless ways, from generating artificial gravity to manufacturing high-strength construction materials. It is most prominently used to enable faster-than-light space travel. EZO is generated when solid matter, such as a planet, is affected by the energy of a star going supernova. The material is common in the asteroid debris that orbits neutron stars and pulsars. These are dangerous places to mine, requiring extensive use of robotics, telepresence, and shielding to survive the incredible radiation from the dead star. Only a few major corporations can afford the setup costs required to work these primary sources. Humanity discovered refined Element Zero at the Prothean Research Station on Mars, allowing them to create Mass Effect fields and develop FTL travel. Element Zero can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space-time when subjected to an electrical current. With a positive current, mass is increased. With a negative current, mass is decreased. The stronger the current, the greater the magnitude of the dark energy mass effect. In space, low-mass fields allow FTL travel and inexpensive surface-to-orbit transit. High-mass fields create artificial gravity and push space debris away from vessels. In manufacturing, low-mass fields permit the creation of evenly blended alloys, while high-mass compaction creates dense, sturdy construction materials. The military makes extensive use of mobility-enhancing technologies, with Mass Effect utilizing fighting vehicles standard frontline issue in most military forces. Mass Effect fields are also essential in the creation of kinetic barriers or shields to protect against enemy fire.
Alright, let's see what else we got here.
A mass accelerator propels a solid metal slug using precisely controlled electromagnetic attraction and repulsion.
Yeah.
All modern infantry...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to look through all that. The Unification War... Yeah, lots of stuff here. Some background stuff on a lot of... I'm just going to mark all these as viewed. So we're not going to go through the secondary codex. Okay, we are going to go talk to our crew members. Let's talk to Caden.
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Is this an official evaluation, Commander? Or off the record?
Alenko, when it's just you and me, you can consider it off the record.
That's a generous attitude. Okay. I think there's something wrong with all this. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
We've got our orders. Belly aching won't change them.
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to element 0 in the room. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects.
Let's see, and Shepard was born in
Until then, they
54.
relied on accidentals. Bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
You know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and bull every night after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana, who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. I think you'd have liked her.
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same. But things never felt together. Training, you know.
Jump Zero's a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. But that's my own baggage, Commander. No bearing on this.
Alenko, there's no regulation that says you can't be friends with your commander.
I appreciate that, Commander. I just don't want you to think that I'm a whiner.
Oh, I do.
Besides, I've got my past squared away.
You might as well just strap on a red shirt, Caden. Sorry, that was kind of mean. But it's true. Let's go talk to Liara.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
I'm just glad we got there in time.
so am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Oh, come on.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
You don't know who?
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Okay. Thank you, Liara.
I should go.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Hang on one second. Alright, one second here. Gotta get my earbuds charged back up. so I have something to fall asleep to tonight. I mean, it's already 10 after midnight here. Okay, so we've talked to Caden, we've talked to Liara. Let's go ahead and head our way to the bottom levels of the Normandy. Talk with our 4 teammates down here. Let's start with Tally.
Oh, hello, Shepard.
What's wrong, Tally?
Are you okay?
I don't know. Your ship is amazing, and your crew's been really great to me, especially your chief engineer. But I just sort of feel out of place. The Normandy runs so smooth it feels like we're not even moving, and the engines are so quiet. How do you sleep at night?
It's too quiet to sleep?
The silence wakes you up?
Back on the flotilla, the last thing you want to hear is silence. It means an engine's died or an air filter shut down. I guess you don't have to worry about that here. But old habits die hard. But it's more than just the silence. This ship feels so empty. It's like half the crew is missing. Back home, I couldn't wait to go on my pilgrimage. I couldn't wait to get away from the crowds. Now that I'm out here, I kind of miss them.
Yeah, it sounds like you're homesick, Tally.
Sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until it's gone.
That's true. I'm starting to wonder if that's what the pilgrimage is really about. It's given me a whole new perspective on my people and our culture. You know, there's always a few who go on their pilgrimages and never return. I always assumed something bad happened to them. But maybe they just wanted a different life.
You do plan to return to the migrant fleet, right?
I could never abandon my people, Shepard. I will go back eventually. But we have to stop Saren first. Otherwise, I might not have a home to go back to.
I should go.
See you later.
Alright, let's go talk to Garrus.
Commander, how are you?
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was CSEC, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
That's tough, but you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient. He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
You were asked to be a Spectre?
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate. Me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
Yeah.
I suppose I can understand his concern. You can. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
Garrus, we can't be vigilantes.
Just because you can break the rules doesn't mean you should. I don't need to stoop to Saren's level to stop him. And neither do you, Garrus.
I see what you mean, but I'll think about it. Thanks, Commander.
Okay. Let's go talk to Rex.
So, we've got Saren on the run.
It won't be long now. Saren's good, but I'm better.
Good? He's rotten. To the core. I could tell as soon as I met him.
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I would've if I thought it was important.
I think I'd like to hear about it just the same.
This was a while ago. A bunch of mercs were bragging about a job out near the edges of the Terminus systems. They said it paid well and the boss was never around to ride them. They said he was looking for more men, too. So I checked it out.
I didn't know Saren was openly recruiting mercs.
It wasn't that open, and he only showed his face once. We'd been raiding ships in the area for months when we took out this massive cargo freighter. Our biggest haul yet. I was on board checking bodies for valuables, looking for some extra credits. That's when I saw him.
What did Saren want with the ship?
I don't know what he wanted. He was just moving through the ship, watching. A couple of the mercs called him by name, but he never spoke to them. Never spoke to anyone. I had a really bad feeling about him, so I got the hell out. Didn't even wait to get paid.
What kind of cargo was the freighter carrying? What was Saren after?
I don't know. All I saw on that ship was food and medical supplies. There were some basic weapons, but nothing big. If there was anything of value on that ship, I didn't see it. That's why I didn't mention it sooner.
Whose ship was it?
There was a Volus trading vessel. Big one. Lots of guards. But they were no match for us.
Sorry, I'm sitting here falling asleep
That's the
here.
only time you saw him?
Yeah. Didn't even know who he was. Still wouldn't if I hadn't joined up with you. But my instincts were right. Every other merc on that mission turned up dead within a week. Every damn one.
So long, Rex.
Shepard. Shepard?
Rex?
That's like a whole meme there.
Commander, you have a minute to talk?
I keep an open door policy. If you have any concerns, lay them on me.
All right. I know things are different aboard the Normandy, but I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Rex. With all due respect, Commander, should they have full access to the ship?
They may not serve the Alliance, Chief, but they're allies. At least as far as Saren goes.
This is the most advanced ship in the Alliance Navy. I don't think we should give them free rein to poke around the vital systems. Engines, sensors, weapons.
Okay, so this conversation is the subject of much debate among the Mass Effect community. On surface glance, people dismiss Ashley as being, oh, you're just a terrible racist, or you're a terrible bigot. I want you to listen again to what Ashley said, as I repeat it kind of verbatim here. She's worried about a Turian and a Krogan, who, for the most part, Turians and Krogans are fairly hostile to humans in the galaxy. Even though, you know, the Codex reading we read talked about how humans and Turians are allies, but they enjoy pretty cool relationships. They're not really buddies. But they're technically allies. And so Ashley, obviously, there's something driving her here. We don't know what that is in the game-wise yet. Obviously, if you've played the game, you know what it is. But her concern is for the safety of the ship and the safety of the crew around her. She is saying that Garrus and Rex shouldn't have access to engines, sensors, and weapons. That is not an unreasonable request, especially for someone who's not part of the Alliance. Now, notice she doesn't extend that to Tali or to Liara. But I don't think she sees Tali or Liara as a threat to her or to anybody else on the ship, especially probably Tali. So you could admonish her here. You can start asking questions. I just wanted to get it out there that, you know, her request here is not out of line. And as someone who, you know, myself personally, I hold a security clearance. That is, you know, it's an important security clearance, part of the United States government. And it's not just handed out lightly. And there are requirements and rules that I have to follow in order to maintain that security clearance. Part of it is that I have to realize that my life is not truly ever completely private because of it. It's a safeguard, you know, for what I do as my profession. So I understand the importance of maintaining security, maintaining OCI. I'm not exactly sure where the devs were going with this when they were writing this game, or the writers were, but a lot of people misunderstand Ashley here, and I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to say she's out of line, because I don't think she is.
You don't trust the Alliance's allies?
I'm not sure I'd call the Council races allies. We, humanity, have to learn to rely on ourselves.
We still need allies, though.
Standing up for ourselves doesn't mean standing alone.
I don't think we should turn down allies. I just think we shouldn't bet everything on them staying allies.
Very reasonable.
As noble as the council members seem now, if their backs are against the wall, they'll abandon us.
That is true. She's not saying anything untrue. Can it be hurtful? This is not even things that are hurtful.
I don't see that as inevitable.
Look, if you're fighting a bear and the only way for you to survive is to sick your dog on it and run, you'll do it. As much as you love your dog, it isn't human. It's not racism, not really. Members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are. Okay, so this line also gets people worked up too, where she says it's not racism, not really. Because they say, well, that's what every racist says. Every racist says that they're not racist. Again, you have to understand the context of her quote, where she says, look, if you're fighting a bear and your only chance to get rid of it is to stick your dog on it, you'll do it. That would be so, like in my situation, I have a golden retriever. And if I sucked my golden retriever on a bear to get away, I would feel awful because my dog, what would my dog think? My dog would think she would probably roll over and, you know, just give up. She's not going to fight a bear. But she would also think that my owner, or not my owner, but my dad is leaving her, you know, against this really scary thing. So I can't even imagine doing something like that. So it's kind of a bad analogy. But in her example here, a lot of people get it wrong. The council is the person, and we are the dog. Humans are the dog. And what her point is that if the Turians were to face some obstacle
they're allies with humans, but the only way around this obstacle is to turn on the humans. They'll turn on the humans. That's her point. And then she says, members, like what the quote up here on the screen, members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are. That is 100% true. That's not untrue. Now, we did go and talk with Executor Palin on the Citadel. Maybe we will in a future video. But Executor Palin exhibits a lot of these same thoughts on the Turian side. And what frustrates me as a player of this game and as a member of the Mass Effect community is the amount of hatred that Ashley's character receives because of these lines. But yet, everybody seems to just wave away and just ignore statements that are made by others in aliens, like members of the Turian race, members of the Solarian race. Every single species does exactly what Ashley says they'll do. Every single one of them. It's not like she's prophetic, she just knows the truth. And basically people are upset at her for speaking truth. We think that we're so much more cultured and we're so much more accepting and progressive now, here in 2023 than other cultures in the past here for humanity. But what we as humans do, especially some people that play this game, is that we project our humanity, our human emotions, our human rationale, our ideals, our culture. We project these onto fictional species, like in video games. And dangerously enough, if there are aliens out there in real life, that there's going to be people that project our own humanity onto these beings as well, if they exist in real life. And in my opinion, one of the most dangerous things to do is to project human empathy, human emotion, human love, human sympathy, all of this stuff onto a species that may not have any need for it. And that could be very, very, the consequences of that could be very, very deadly. And if we were to discover an alien species, I'm not saying the first thing you do is go to war with them, because you need to understand what it is that you're dealing with. But it would behoove us as a species that if we discovered intelligent life, like something like that we see in video games and movies, it would behoove us as a species to be slightly xenophobic, to be honest with you, because they could have feelings and emotions that don't even in the same universe as us. So, just something to ponder. I just want people to not always dismiss Ashley's character as like this xenophobic, bigoted, racist human woman, because what it all boils down to, we like to say, oh, we'd like to prop up the aliens because they're so much more interesting than us, the humans, and they'll say, oh, humans are so boring, and they just want to cut us down because that's the only thing they know. They would much rather tear someone down than build someone up.
These seem like deeply held beliefs, Williams. What made you think this way?
My family's defended the Alliance since it was founded. My father, grandfather, great-grandmother, they all picked up a rifle and swore the oath of service. I guess we just tend to think of Earth's interests as our own.
It doesn't sound like you've worked with aliens before.
No, sir. Mainly I've been groundside, part of the surface garrison forces. I did get a rotation on a space station for training. Every Marine a rifleman, every rifleman ZG certified.
That's odd. Your record is spotless and your technical scores are exemplary. You should be serving with the fleet.
Anyway, that's why I haven't served with many aliens, Commander.
You're lucky. I lost my family on Mindoir. Are you related to anyone I'd have heard of?
Couldn't say, Commander. I read about Mindoir. The Alliance screwed the pooch on that one. Should have had a bigger garrison. Is that why you're out here? To take the fight to the pirates?
No. The future of humanity is out here. There's so much we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. I still remember my first field exercise on Titan. When we hit mud, the reality hit me. I'm the first person who ever stood here. Then my drill instructor kicked me in the ass. I went face first into the muck. He spent the next 5 minutes chewing me out for gold bricking.
Don't tell me you had Gunny Ellison. He's the only one I know who uses that word to describe shirking duty.
Oh, Lord. You went to the Makapog boot camp, too? Yeah, Gunny Ellison's still reaming out recruits down there, kicking ass and using words like inveigle and pusillanimous.
All right. I can see where your concerns are coming from, Williams. But this is a multilateral mission. You're going to have to work with aliens, like it or not.
It won't be a problem, Commander. You say jump, I say how high. You tell me to kiss a Turian, I'll ask which cheek.
Would you kiss anyone I ordered you to?
That depends, sir. If you ordered me to kiss a superior officer, that would be a violation of the regs concerning fraternization. That would make it an illegal order. I'd be required to decline and relieve you of command. Sir.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
Yeah, I believe her, though.
I think she's being straight with us. Or at least, I don't think she lies very often.
Yeah, she's probably really bad at it. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to it, sir.
Okay, so I was going to go and... So we've talked to everybody here, talked to our crew. Tell you what, let's go ahead and... Yeah, we're still in Therum. So we've gone through all of the systems here in the Artemis Tau cluster. I don't want to get too much into some of these because not yet. Let's go ahead and go to Novaria. Kind of had a boring episode so far, and I do apologize for that, but let's go ahead and check out some of these planets before we hit Novaria. Vela, so we can survey this planet. What do we got here? We got Matriarch Dylanaga's writings. Okay. Okay, I don't see any other planets around. Novaria is a small, frozen terrestrial world barely habitable by conventional standards. It is privately chartered by the Novaria Development Corporation, who lease out the labs to perform research too dangerous or controversial to be performed elsewhere. Given Novaria's unique situation, it is a source of many wild conspiracy theories. Okay, let's go ahead and land. I'm going to just... Oh, hang on one second.
Control, this is the SSV Normandy, requesting a vector and a berth.
Normandy, your arrival was not scheduled. Our defense grid is armed and tracking you. State your business.
Citadel business. We got a Council Spectre aboard.
Landing access granted, Normandy. Be advised, we will be confirming identification on arrival. If confirmation cannot be established, your vessel will be impounded.
What a fun bunch. I think I'll take my next leave here.
Yeah, so we're going to get off the ship. Excuse me. We're going to get off the ship here, explore around real quick, and then I'll probably save the game. I don't think I'm going to get into the action in this one here. Like I said, we're about 30 minutes or so into the video, but I am getting a little tired. And let's go ahead and take the good squad here.
Equalizing interior pressure with exterior atmosphere. Logged. The commanding officer is ashore. Exo Presley has the deck.
I don't have any Turian armor. Okay, Liara, let's go ahead and give her some points in throw. Points in lift. Garrus, we're gonna make you good with sniper rifles.
That's far enough.
We're not here to cause problems.
This is an unscheduled arrival. I need your credentials.
You first.
We're the law here. Show some respect.
I'm Captain Maiko Matsuo, Ilanis Risk Control Services.
I'm a Spectre. My name is Shepard.
Load of horse crap, man.
We will need to confirm that. Also, I must advise you that firearms are not permitted on Noveria. Sergeant Sterling, secure their weapons.
Citadel authority supersedes yours.
Stand down. Their house, their rules.
If you think this is best, Commander.
Captain Matsuo, stand down. We confirmed their identity. Spectres are authorized to carry weapons here, Captain.
You may proceed, Spectre. I hope the rest of your visit will be less confrontational. Parasini-san will meet you upstairs.
Behave yourself.
Okay, actually, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast here. So, not the longest broadcast here. What am I at here? Well, I guess I'm almost at an hour. So, 30 more minutes isn't going to do too much. But I am kind of dozing off, and I do need to get some sleep here. So, not the most exciting of episodes, I do understand. We did a lot of Codex reading, and then we talked to the crew and just started the mission here on Noveria. So, in next mission, episode 6, it'll be dedicated to Noveria. We'll do the whole mission. We'll do any potential. There are a couple of miscellaneous side quests here, but mostly it's just the main mission. And we'll complete Noveria and then talk with the crew afterwards. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Mass Effect 1, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the complete playthrough. If you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel for more content, and I will see you later. See you guys.